To start the final draft, I have a little miniature kind of process here as a reminder of where you're going. You are going to start, I see ultra light in pencil, and there's a couple checkpoints where you have to come back in within the process to get more information, to get permission to move forward. So when you get the paper, you'll start with your first name, last initial again here, your class period number. I don't have the date on there because really in the end all of this is trash anyways. This is just for reference for now. And then you're going to put your toy name up here on the line. And this is the final draft. This is the paper we're actually going to cut out and build and put together. It is printed on cardstock. So extra thick paper. The one thing about cardstock is it's so thick it dents. So when I say ultra light, if you draw a pretty heavy line or you're working with tracing paper and it's not working, you're pushing hard, it's going to literally dent the paper. And when you go and try to color something in, you're going to notice those things. So I could go through here and color, and that's not going to show up because of me pushing too hard. So draw super light. If the tracing paper is not working properly, go to your teacher, get an explanation on that, because when you dent the paper, it doesn't color in. So on this paper, you have basically this is all going to make one big head, kind of like a cube, except it's not a perfect little square. Some things are labeled out, so the face will be this section here. The character's right side of the head is on this side. The character's left side of the head is on here because the way it swings down into place. The back of the head, the curve of the back of the head is here, where you see back of head. This one I couldn't really label out. That is just the top of the head, usually hair or fur or whatever, top of the head. This O space right here is like a chin because the way the head is wider than the shoulders. So that will just get colored in like a chin color. All the body is down here. This will glue on, so you don't have to do anything with this one, but that's the body going from shoulder, the body, the legs, the feet, then the character's left side of the body, back of the body, right side of the body. It'll wrap all the way around and connect onto this side here. All of these are tabs. They are numbered for a glue order, plus X's you'll hear later as you put it together, and then these ones are numbered for glue order also. Below that is all the room you have for your extensions. If you need more paper, more cardstock, that is available, but most of your extensions should fit on here. I didn't label out the front of the body because that's where you'll actually directly draw your feet on. So when you put it together, you just fold the feet up and they're already attached. But when you get ready to start on this, make sure that you have your blueprint, make sure you have your tracing paper if you still do, your pencil, a ruler, a good eraser, sticky eraser, all that stuff kind of handy for getting started. And the first thing I want to do super light is to divide up the space. So I have a line going from the back of the head to the front of the head, and as light as possible, I'm going to draw a line that connects that. For mine, I only need to know where the center of their face is. If you are splitting your character in half or something, you could use that as that line. And then I have another line right here. I couldn't put one down below in case you have like a mermaid tail, but that will come straight down vertically, and that will be the center of the body in case if you need it for any reason. I also put guidelines for where to break up the shirt from the pants or whatever you have going on, and I put 3 here and 3 here, so you could use any of those if you need them. So I'm going to start with my face. The best ones to start with are the face, the body, and the shoes, and then kind of work everything out from there. So I still have my face from this paper, and it has graphite on both sides. So I'm going to line it up, again, not on the top of the head. I'm going to line it up here in this face section and draw out half of that. I can hold it still, peek to make sure I transferred everything. I didn't miss any lines that I wanted on there. And then continue, I need to get my mouth on there. And there's that half. I'll flip it over, line it up, and get the other half the face. And then I'm just going to free draw my nose just kind of right here in the middle because it doesn't really need to be super symmetrical. So that is the face. Now, I want to wrap things around the side of the head. So from a side view, I'm going to see some hair, some cheek where the ear is going to stick out. But where I see left side, I'm actually going to be drawing it in left side here. because like I said, the way that it's gonna start here and it's gonna rotate into place. So I could use another little piece of my tracing paper, and I'm gonna mark out the corner of this box in a line, a little dot there. And when this wraps around to the side, that is where the hair is going to continue from. So unfortunately, I can't push again. It can't transfer unless you flip the paper over. So if I make that little plus sign, the little dot, and I flip it and line it up, I can transfer that little dot down. And then I'm going to draw the side of my head. So this will come down and around an ear with hair above the line and skin below that. I'm going to bring it all the way down to the corner. The back of the head, the hair goes all the way down kind of to the top of the neck, and then that gets to be hair all the way across the rest of these sections. If everything's symmetrical, if my hair is ending at the same point, everything, I could use my tracing paper for this. So if I line up the corners of my box and I draw my hairline there, then I would flip it over and bring it all the way to the other side and transfer it out here. So now this would be cheek color as this swings down into place, and then hair color all above that. If you need help, you could also use a ruler. I could measure that is a 1/2 centimeter down, and so over here it needs to be a 1/2 centimeter down. You can use, like I said, the tracing paper where you mark out a little plus sign and where the hair ends. When you rotate, it needs to be in the same spot, but to transfer it, you have to flip it and make a little dot where it needs to line back up again, or just go see your teacher and we can help you line things up in the right place. So the head's actually done. My hair is an extension, my ear is an extension. Nothing, like I said, really needs to go on there until I'm coloring. So I'm gonna move down now to the body. So with the body, I see all of my lines. On this paper, you could keep things straight across. You would take a ruler and it would go all the way across all of those spaces. But here, it's a little bit different. So I'm going to need to angle things up. Let's say this distance is, I'm still in centimeters here, 1 9/10 centimeters, then this also is 1 9/10 centimeters. So those lines would wrap up for you. So you can decide, which one of those would work best. If you want the higher or lower one, I have so many, I'm actually just gonna take my time and kind of draw all the parts of my body as it fits in that space. Okay, so that's my front of my body. A little bit confusing with how much design I have on the character I chose. But now, as these things rotate, if you have any lines that, well, let's say were super straight, I don't really have any very straight lines, but they would just need to angle up and angle up and angle up again. One thing I could do to make sure everything matches up is take a piece of my tracing paper and I'm just gonna draw a line all the way down here. And something ends there, there, all across these sections. And that is the bottom. If I take that and flip it all the way to the other side, and I flipped it, so I traced it out, I flipped it over, then this, as long as this line matches up to this line, when you close the character up, everything's gonna go into place. So I'm gonna begin to angle things up. If you had a character that had split legs, you would see that on here, and then also on the back of the body. But really, if I got striped shirt, I would have stripes all the way around. So I'm just gonna continue this design all the way around, and I'm actually gonna turn some of these into straight lines that should be a little bit straighter. If there's any detail, like this is kind of a necklace type piece that I see on the front, you can decide whether you'd see it across the neck area on the side, the back, the other side, how things would kind of wrap around. For me, it's just all those designs. So that's actually, until I get to all my little details of my flowers and dots and everything, that's going to be finished for my character. If you have backpack straps that wrap around or armpit tank top holes or something, again, this is the character's left side armpit where this transitions from the front of the body to the back of the body. That's kind of the middle where the arm would stick out. Right side body's over here, and then jersey numbers, again, the back split of the legs, back pockets would all be on the back of the body there. So I'm gonna go on down to my feet. The feet, you just draw the shoes directly on. They still count as extensions, but I could just draw on the little tip of the toes here where they stick out past the dress, and I could use tracing paper to get the match, or actually I had one drawn there, but I just redrew that, so I'll go and get that on the other side. So there's the feet. So like I said, if in the beginning, if you want to start with just face, body, and feet, then you could do that, and then teacher could help kind of wrap things around as these things need to make their way back around to the beginning, if you have any questions on how this comes together. Otherwise, that is the top half. The character is done. I now am going to work on the extensions. So I need to get my extensions down below here. I'll start with my arms. And these arms, how they are going to hang down. Oh wait, that's not my arms. These arms. They worked, I liked how they were here, so I have tracing or graphite on both sides. I'm just going to transfer my arms down into this space below. And if you had two different arms, let's say one arm's up, one arm's down, you have them draw differently, and you realize when you trace it, it puts it like, oh, why wanted my right arm down and the left arm up? It does not matter, because you're going to end up coloring both sides of this, and you could use either the front and back. So I could always turn it and glue this side on. It doesn't matter if you are tracing and getting the wrong thing into place. So I'll do the rest of my extensions, which are all still on here. Alright, so extensions are down there. Some, and I just redrew them. I can make them better, I'd make them different, bigger, different, whatever I need to do. Make sure these are actual size, actual number. I'm not going to draw one ear and write it ×2. I need to have the correct number of all of my extensions on here. Correct size, correct shape. So at this point, I've done my ultralight pencil. I've drawn my extensions. You are going for your first check. So bring these two papers up. Say, okay, I'm coming for a check. I think I'm ready to move on. And then I'll look over and make sure you drew everything correctly, you haven't forgotten anything, and make those notes for you. Once you've gotten your check, you're going to move on to pen. With the felt tip pen, it is going to mark out any color changes, any details. So I don't want to trace out every pencil line, but if it's a pencil line that's important to the project, I'm separating out the hair from the skin, or I'm adding freckles or the details on the flowers or whatever it may be, you're going to be covering it in felt tip pen. It's kind of like a cartoon. There's going to be a black line separating everything. Right now it's pencil, and if you go straight to color, it's going to look unfinished, and this just helps it look nice and neat and kind of finalized. So pen covers all the pencil lines. I may need to go back in now and add my flowers and my polka dots, and so for instance, I'll just come right across the top here and cover up this line. If I get a little bit off, that's fine, because next step you're going to erase any leftover pencil. And maybe some of my lines are kind of disappearing, but that's okay. I'll just kind of redraw it perfectly in there. As far as coloring things in, if anything's going to be black, you can, depending on how big it is. If it is smaller than like a pencil eraser, then go ahead, you can use the Sharpie or the felt tip pen. But if the hair is all black, I'm not going to take the time with this tiny little black pen. But like the pupil here, it would be fine if I went ahead and colored that in for the black pupil. That's small enough that I could do with the pen. So I'm going to continue kind of off camera going through the rest of my lines. You can thicken lines if anything needs to go back and be a darker, bolder line, or there may be an opportunity for a thinner pen. Let's say you want a line to be thinner. Also, if you need a colored line, I do have colored pens. So let's say you have a jersey and it says that they're the Red Raiders or something across here, and you don't want it to be a black Red Raiders, then we can do colored pen on top of those lines. But for the most part, I'm fine with a black pen covering and separating out all my color changes, but do know that colored pens are available. So I'm going to continue. Alright, so I have finished all of my pen. I've gone in and added details, because pen needs to mark out any color changes, any details. So when I'm changing my colors on the polka dots from the shirt, from details like the ruffles in the skirt, any of that stuff should be marked out in pen, not in pencil. Pencil looks unfinished, pen makes it nice and neat. then we'll also be doing the extensions in pen, not the tabs. The tabs, we want them to kind of blend in as best as possible. And actually, I kind of need to think about where my tab's going to go, what it's going to stick on. So if these are going on a polka dot shirt, I might need a polka dot tab actually. But the rest of the extensions, the details, the little fingers, all those kinds of lines will also get covered in pen on the front view and on the back view. So I'll just go through here first before I get too confusing and just mark out all of my extensions in pen. Tabs, again, you don't need to do. You can mark out the beginning and end, like where where that shape is, so you can think about the end of where you need to color. But the tabs don't need to be done. And then you need to think about the back view of the extensions. So this, you need a window or a light box, and you're going to flip it over, and we want it to be colored on the back side. And it's really hard to know where to color this way. So with the window, you can press it up against a glass or a light box. You're going to flip it drawing side down onto that window light box and be able to see the back of the ears, the back of the brush, the back of the hair, the back of what all your extensions are. And it needs to be done in pen then too. Again, you don't need the back of the tabs done in pen. You just need to know what that space is so we can color that in. So I'm in a light box, and here is the drawing on the front of my paper. I'm going to flip it upside down, and I can see right through. You could do it in pen first if you question anything, but if you are good to go straight to pen, then you can do that too. And now, for instance, a paint palette looks different from the front than it does from the back. I will have little splatters of paint on the front, but I won't see those on the back view. So I need to think, as I'm doing my extensions, of front versus back. If I did the ears that have like a little squiggle in them for the inside of the ears, I'm not going to draw that on the back view. I'm now thinking about the back of my ear in the earring. So think, as you're tracing out all of your extensions, what it would look like from reverse. Is there any difference between a front view and a back view? If you're doing a paw, like a puppy paw, you may see the little cute pads of a puppy paw on one side but not on the other side. So think as you draw. Okay, so I did something different with the back of my hair than I did with the front. Try to get your lines exact. I missed a couple little spots. When I cut it out, it's gonna look a little different front and back. So you gotta really aim for the correct space when you're doing that. And that is done. So after pen, the next step is to erase. If there is any leftover pencil on your paper, lines you need to cover, lines that you missed when you were drawing, you changed your mind how to draw something, you are going to wipe out all of that leftover eraser. Let me clean my eraser off before I smudge everything. So I'm just gonna hold my paper down super flat and very carefully erase out any of that leftover gray. Maybe when you're doing that, you realize, oh, I forgot to go over that line. Now is a good time to fix that. I'm gonna leave my extension tabs, my tabs for my extensions, because I wanna kinda know where those are, what I plan on coloring in. If I erase that, I may forget to color the tabs in. So that's good to go. I am now going to color. For the project, you need to have a minimum of 5 colors for your project. So no black and white panda bears. It has to be at least 5 colors, and one color must be a blended color, where you're going to layer 2 colors together or more and make a new color. So I'll go through here, look at my original pictures, decide what I want to be what color. This is going to be all hair across here and onto these 2 pieces. This is going to be more of the skin color across the front of these. This, you're going to color this O around the gray square like a skin color. This is basically like the chin that's going to hang over the top here. Tabs don't need to be colored. You're welcome to color up onto this background paper, up onto tabs. Of course, I don't want to put my skin color and my hair color, but it's okay if you get outside those lines, because we're going to erase, or we're going to throw away all this leftover paper when we're done. It's okay if you color up onto these. It's okay if you just color that whole arm and go outside the lines. Not a big deal. So that would be my first example of a blended color, a little layer of black, a little layer of brown. You don't necessarily need to make a brand new color. I don't need to use a red and orange, or sorry, a red and a yellow to make an orange. You just need to layer colors together and make a new color that doesn't come in your colored pencil box. So I'm going to keep on going and work around the head, but that's all hair across there. Details of the face onto the skin. I'll take my time with that. When it comes to white, you don't necessarily need to use a white colored pencil, but if it helps make it extra kind of waxy, it's not going to do anything. If you make a mistake, like I colored some brown in there, I'm not going to be able to use it to go back over anything necessarily. But if you do have a lot of white in your project, using the white colored pencil helps make it waxy, and then it helps it not get so dirty because this paper just kind of absorbs, you know, your gluey fingers and stuff, so it can kind of help in that way. I did a little bit more of the blended colors. I put some pink on her cheeks. Other last thing is I'm changing my pressure. So I'm pushing a lot lighter. That's why we did this colored pencil techniques, because I don't want maximum 100% color. I want a lighter value. Your classroom may have blender colored pencils available. I have these blender pencils. Come see me if you need it. And you can use those to kind of blend colors to get rid of all that streakiness. It changes the color some, so definitely check and see if you like how the blender pencil works, because now that looks like quite a bit different. It kind of yellowed it out a little bit. So I definitely would check it in a separate area on the side of your paper and make sure you like how that changes that. But it's supposed to give it kind of a more smeary look versus being able to see all of that. So I'm going to go through and kind of blend this face color together. So I'm just going to keep going with the rest of my details. The arms, you know, I want the same skin color. The feet, I want this skin color. So I could skip on down, even though you don't really think of doing the extensions next and the feet next. You could move around like that to make sure everything is colored in the same kind of matching color with the blender. And I'll be back later with it finished and to talk about the back of the extensions in the tabs. So I have finished all of the front view of this. Everything is colored in. I blended some more colors. Things wrap around. There's a little bit more that I still need to do, but I need to find other colored pencils. I need a gold colored pencil. So this is not completely finished, because the next thing I need to do is flip it over and draw everything from the back. Tabs. You could color them in on front and back if you'd like to. So I need to think about what they're going to get glued onto, and if this is going to go on her blue shirt, bluish blackish shirt, I could color that extra space on the front view and then also here on the back view with that bluish blackish color. Some things don't need tabs. If they're going to get cut out, glued into the hand or something, bangs that glue up on the forehead may not need a tab, but otherwise the tab is colored whatever color it is getting stuck onto. So I just need to finish getting the back view of my extensions. There'll be one last checkpoint. Once you have everything colored, you've done the back of your extensions too. You'll check one last time to make sure with the teacher that everything looks great. And then you just turn in all the rest of your worksheets and wait to put it together.